In the waning years of the Victorian era, a gripping tale of survival unfolds as two young cousins, John and Emily Langford, find themselves marooned on a lush tropical island after a catastrophic shipwreck in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. The sole adult survivor accompanying them is Sam Harris, the ship's cook, whose wisdom and experience quickly establish him as the children's guardian. Sam, seasoned by years at sea, immediately sets about creating a semblance of order in their newfound, untamed home. He teaches John and Emily the fundamentals of survival, from foraging for food to building shelter, instilling in them a sense of resilience and resourcefulness. Amidst the natural beauty of the island, with its vibrant flora and fauna, Sam lays down strict rules to safeguard their fragile existence. The most crucial of these rules is an absolute prohibition against venturing to the island's far side, where Sam has discovered ominous signs of human sacrifice, an eerie altar stained with blood and littered with skeletal remains. This grim discovery haunts Sam, who fears the unseen dangers lurking in this forbidden zone. He warns the children of the island's hidden perils, including the deadly red berries that grow abundantly in certain areas. His tales of caution paint a stark contrast to the island's paradisiacal appearance, casting a shadow of dread over their sanctuary. As they settle into their new lives, the island's duality becomes increasingly evident. By day, it is a place of sun-drenched beaches and verdant forests teeming with life. By night, it transforms into a realm of lurking threats, where the whisper of the wind and the rustle of leaves evoke a sense of unseen presence. This dichotomy mirrors the children's own journey from innocence to maturity, as they navigate the complexities of survival and their evolving emotions. Their bond with Sam deepens, forming a makeshift family unit that relies on mutual trust and shared responsibilities. However, the island's isolation also intensifies their emotional and psychological challenges as they grapple with memories of their past and the uncertainty of their future. With Sam as their guide, John and Emily adapt to the rhythms of island life, learning to draw sustenance from the land and sea. Each day brings new lessons in self-reliance, as Sam teaches them how to catch fish, identify edible plants, and construct rudimentary tools from the natural resources at hand. These skills are vital, transforming the children from helpless survivors into competent inhabitants of their isolated domain. The trio establishes a routine, dividing chores and responsibilities to ensure their collective well-being. John's strength and curiosity drive him to explore the island's more challenging terrains, while Emily's keen observation skills help her master the intricacies of foraging and food preparation. Together, they form a balanced partnership, complementing each other's strengths and compensating for their weaknesses. Their survival is punctuated by moments of tranquility and discovery. They find solace in the island's beauty, with its azure waters, lush greenery, and abundant wildlife, providing a sense of peace amidst the hardship. The children build a simple but sturdy shelter, using palm fronds and bamboo, creating a safe haven that becomes their home. As the days turn into weeks, the island starts to feel less like a prison and more like a place of refuge. Sam's stories of the world beyond the horizon offer a connection to their past lives, the gap between their old and new realities. These tales also serve as a source of moral guidance, helping the children navigate the ethical dilemmas that arise in their secluded environment. Despite the growing sense of stability, the specter of the island's dangers remains ever present. Sam's warnings about the red berries and the forbidden altar linger in the children's minds, casting a shadow over their explorations. They develop a cautious respect for the unknown, understanding that their survival hinges on heeding Sam's advice. This underlying tension heightens their awareness, fostering a sense of vigilance that permeates their daily activities. The island, with all its beauty and peril, becomes both their teacher and adversary, shaping their growth in profound and unexpected ways. As the seasons change, so do the dynamics within their small group. The children's dependence on Sam gradually shifts as they gain confidence in their abilities. This transition is marked by moments of both pride and sorrow, as they celebrate their achievements while mourning the loss of their previous lives. The island becomes a crucible, forging their characters through the trials they face together. The bond between John, Emily, and Sam deepens, rooted in shared experiences and the collective struggle to survive. Their story is one of resilience and adaptation, illustrating the human spirit's capacity to endure and thrive even in the most challenging circumstances. Tragedy strikes when Sam, the steadfast guardian, succumbs to the vices that had once seemed distant on this remote island. One fateful night, in a moment of weakness and despair, Sam overindulges in alcohol, leading to his untimely death. The impact of his loss is immediate and profound, leaving John and Emily not only bereft of their protector, but also thrust into the stark reality of their isolation. Sam's absence creates a void that is both emotional and practical, as the children are suddenly left to fend for themselves in an unforgiving environment. The death of Sam marks a pivotal turning point in their lives. The safety net he provided is gone, and the children must now confront the harsh truth of their situation. Grief mingles with fear as they face the daunting task of survival without the guidance and support they had come to rely on. The island, once a place of relative security, now feels more perilous and unpredictable. The children bury Sam with a solemnity that belies their youth, recognizing the gravity of their loss and the responsibilities that now rest solely on their shoulders. In the wake of Sam's death, John and Emily's relationship evolves. Their shared grief draws them closer, fostering a deeper bond forged in adversity. They take on new roles, with John stepping into the role of protector and provider, and Emily assuming the responsibilities of nurturing and maintaining their home. This shift in dynamics tests their resilience and adaptability, pushing them to new limits as they navigate the complexities of their new reality. Their days become a series of challenges and small victories, as they learn to live without the safety and comfort that Sam's presence once provided. The island itself seems to respond to their loss, its beauty tinged with an undercurrent of menace. The sounds of the jungle, once a comforting backdrop, now carry a sense of foreboding. The children remain vigilant, ever mindful of the dangers that Sam had warned them about. They avoid the red berries and keep their distance from the forbidden side of the island, adhering to the rules that had been instilled in them. Yet, despite their precautions, the sense of vulnerability is palpable, and the island's mysteries loom larger in their consciousness. As they adjust to their new reality, John and Emily find strength in their resilience and determination. They draw on the lessons Sam had taught them, applying his wisdom to their daily lives. The skills they had acquired under his tutelage prove invaluable, enabling them to survive and even thrive in their secluded world. Their journey is one of growth and self-discovery, as they learn to rely on each other and themselves. The loss of Sam, while devastating, becomes a catalyst for their transformation, pushing them to embrace their independence and find their place within the island's unforgiving embrace. Their story, now devoid of its guiding figure, takes on a new depth as they navigate the challenges ahead. The island, with all its dangers and wonders, becomes a proving ground for their courage and ingenuity. John and Emily's bond strengthens, rooted in shared memories and the collective struggle to survive. They find solace in their companionship, drawing comfort from the knowledge that they are not alone in their journey. The loss of Sam, though deeply felt, becomes a part of their narrative, shaping their path and teaching them the true meaning of resilience. As the years passed, John and Emily grew from children into adolescents, their bodies and minds undergoing the profound transformations of puberty. The isolation of the island magnified these changes, as they had no guidance or education on the complexities of human sexuality. The changes in their bodies and emotions became a source of confusion and distress. John began to notice Emily in new ways, his feelings shifting from mere companionship to a deeper, more perplexing attraction. Emily, on her part, was equally bewildered by her body's transformations, particularly during her menstrual cycles, which she misunderstood as signs of injury or illness. Their close-knit bond was strained by these new emotions. John, driven by a burgeoning curiosity and desire, found himself drawn to Emily, but his advances were met with resistance and confusion. Emily's own burgeoning awareness of her sexuality clashed with her instinctive need for privacy and understanding. This created a tension between them that neither knew how to navigate. One day, Emily experienced her menstrual period for the first time, and in her panic, she forbade John from examining her, believing she was hurt. John, hurt and confused by her rejection, struggled to understand her sudden withdrawal. The island, with its lush landscapes and vibrant life, seemed to mirror the tumult within them. The once clear waters of their relationship became muddied by unspoken fears and desires. John retreated into himself, grappling with feelings of rejection and confusion. He spent hours alone exploring the island, trying to make sense of his emotions. Emily, equally distressed, found solace in solitude, tending to the small garden they had cultivated together, her mind a whirlwind of thoughts she could not articulate. Their once harmonious partnership was now punctuated by awkward silences and misunderstood gestures. As time passed, Emily began to understand her body better, though she still lacked the language and knowledge to fully grasp what was happening to her. She became more cautious around John, aware of his changing demeanor. John, in turn, respected her need for space, though it pained him to be kept at a distance. The natural beauty of the island, which had once been a source of comfort, now seemed to mock their inner turmoil. The sound of the waves and the rustle of the trees no longer brought solace, but a reminder of the vast, uncaring world that surrounded them. Despite their struggles, there were moments of reconnection. One evening, as the sun set in a blaze of color, they found themselves sitting together on the beach. The silence between them was different this time, not awkward, but filled with a mutual understanding of their shared journey. Emily, her voice soft and hesitant, began to speak about her fears and confusion. John listened, his own heart aching with empathy. They talked long into the night, the barriers between them slowly dissolving. It was a small step towards healing, a tentative reconnection that held the promise of deeper understanding. The burgeoning tension between John and Emily eventually came to a head. John, unable to contain his feelings any longer, confessed his attraction to Emily, hoping for reciprocation. Instead, Emily recoiled, her confusion and fear manifesting as rejection. She could not reconcile the brotherly bond they had shared with the romantic feelings John was expressing. Her rejection was not just of John, but of the confusing emotions within herself that she did not yet understand. John's heart was shattered, the pain of rejection compounded by the isolation of their existence. The aftermath of this confrontation left both of them reeling. John withdrew even further into himself, spending days alone in the depths of the island's forests. He found solace in the physical exertion of building and exploring, using his hands to shape the environment around him as a way to channel his emotional turmoil. Emily, meanwhile, struggled with feelings of guilt and confusion. She missed John's companionship, but could not bring herself to face the awkwardness and unresolved tension between them. Their separation was not just physical but emotional. They had always been each other's confidants, and now, with this rift, they both felt a profound loneliness. Emily took solace in the small rituals of daily life, tending their garden, preparing meals, and maintaining their shelter. These activities, once shared, now became solitary endeavors. Each task was a reminder of the bond they had lost, and the silence that filled their home was heavy with unspoken words and unresolved feelings. One day, driven by a desire to mend their relationship, Emily decided to approach John. She found him by a small waterfall, a place they had discovered together and once enjoyed. As she watched him from a distance, she gathered her courage, hoping to bridge the gap that had formed between them. But when she reached out to touch his shoulder, he turned, startled and defensive, caught in a vulnerable moment. Emily's attempt at reconciliation turned into another painful misunderstanding, further deepening the chasm between them. Despite these setbacks, Emily did not give up. She began to leave small tokens of peace: a flower by his sleeping mat, a freshly caught fish by the fire, gestures that spoke of her willingness to rebuild their connection. Slowly, John began to respond, his heart softening with each act of kindness. They started to find their way back to each other, though the path was fraught with the remnants of their earlier conflict. The island, in its eternal cycle of life and renewal, seemed to offer them a lesson in resilience and forgiveness. The years passed, and with them came the first glimmer of hope for rescue. One bright morning, as John and Emily were engaged in their daily routines, a distant shape appeared on the horizon. It was a ship, its sails billowing in the wind, a symbol of the world they had left behind. Excitement and trepidation surged through them. This was their chance to leave the island, to return to civilization. John immediately thought of lighting the signal fire they had prepared for such an occasion, but Emily hesitated, a storm of emotions swirling within her. Emily's hesitation was not born of fear, but of a deep, unexpected attachment to the island that had become their home. The idea of leaving this place, with all its dangers and beauty, felt like abandoning a part of themselves. She did not want to face the uncertainty of a world that might have changed beyond recognition, a world that might not accept the bond they had forged here. As John prepared to ignite the fire, Emily's voice stopped him. She expressed her doubts, her fear of losing the only life they now knew. John was incredulous, unable to comprehend why Emily would not seize this opportunity for rescue. A heated argument ensued, their emotions raw and unfiltered. John's desire to return to civilization clashed with Emily's need to protect the sanctity of their island life. She argued that they had built a home here, a life that, despite its hardships, had given them strength and resilience. John's frustration boiled over, but Emily stood her ground, her conviction unshaken. The ship sailed on, oblivious to the drama unfolding on the shore. The aftermath of the missed rescue was a period of soul-searching for both. John, furious and disheartened, retreated into silence, struggling to come to terms with Emily's decision. He could not understand her reluctance to leave the island, which he still saw as a temporary refuge rather than a permanent home. Emily, on the other hand, felt a mixture of relief and guilt. She questioned her own motives, wondering if she had been selfish in imposing her will on John. Yet, deep down, she believed that their place was here, amidst the wild beauty and challenges of the island. In the days that followed, the tension between them eased as they began to see each other's perspectives. John realized that Emily's attachment to the island was not just about the physical place, but about the life they had built and the person she had become. Emily, in turn, understood John's longing for connection to the world they had lost. They talked late into the night, under the canopy of stars, sharing their fears and hopes. These conversations brought them closer, helping them to bridge the gap that had formed. Their bond, tested by conflict and misunderstanding, emerged stronger. They agreed to be more open with each other, to share their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. The island, once a place of solitude and isolation, became a symbol of their journey together. They decided to continue their lives there, not out of resignation, but out of a newfound acceptance of their fate. The missed rescue was a turning point, a moment that crystallized their commitment to each other and to the life they had chosen. Emily's conviction that the island was their true home became a guiding principle. They focused on improving their shelter, expanding their garden, and finding new ways to sustain themselves. John threw himself into these tasks with renewed vigor, finding solace in the physical work and the sense of purpose it brought. Emily, too, found peace in the routines of their daily life, her connection to the island deepening with each passing day. The island, with all its challenges and beauty, became a testament to their resilience and love. Driven by a blend of curiosity and defiance, Emily decided one day to explore the forbidden side of the island. The warnings of Sam echoed in her mind, but the desire to uncover the mysteries he had spoken of was too compelling. She moved cautiously through the dense foliage, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and anticipation. The terrain grew more rugged as she ventured deeper, the jungle thicker and more oppressive, until she finally stumbled upon the ominous altar that Sam had described. The altar stood in a small clearing, its presence both imposing and eerie. It was made of rough stone, darkened by years of exposure to the elements and stained with what appeared to be ancient blood. Bones and other remnants of sacrifices lay scattered around, a grim testament to the island's dark history. Emily felt a shiver run down her spine as she approached the altar, her mind grappling with the implications of what she was seeing. She had grown up with stories of the supernatural and the sacred, and this altar seemed to embody those tales. In the stillness of the clearing, Emily's thoughts turned to the religious teachings she had absorbed during her early years. She began to draw parallels between the blood on the altar and the blood of Christ, crucified for the salvation of humanity. The idea that this altar could hold a sacred significance took root in her mind. She knelt before it, her hands trembling as she touched the cold stone, and whispered a prayer. To her, the altar was not just a remnant of savage rituals, but a place where the sacred and the profane intertwined. Emily's encounter with the altar marked a significant shift in her perception of the island. She returned to their camp, her thoughts consumed by what she had seen. She spoke to John about her discovery, her voice filled with a mix of awe and conviction. She urged him to accompany her back to the altar, to see for himself, and to join her in prayer. John, however, reacted with horror and disbelief. The altar represented everything he feared about the island: the unknown dangers, the dark history, the violation of Sam's law. Their argument was intense and emotional. John accused Emily of endangering them by exploring the forbidden area and challenging the rules that had kept them safe. Emily, in turn, insisted that the altar was a place of spiritual significance and that they could not ignore its presence. She believed that by praying there, they could find strength and perhaps even a sense of purpose. The conflict between them highlighted the divergent ways they had come to view their existence on the island. For John, the island remained a place of survival and caution. For Emily, it was becoming a place of deeper meaning and connection. Despite their disagreement, Emily continued to visit the altar in secret, finding solace in her solitary prayers. The island, with its lush landscapes and hidden dangers, seemed to take on a new dimension in her eyes. It was no longer just a place of exile, but a sanctuary of sorts, where the sacred could be found in the most unexpected places. This personal transformation added a new layer to her relationship with the island and with John, as she navigated the delicate balance between their differing beliefs and the reality of their situation. The tranquility of the island life was shattered one day when a ship appeared on the horizon. This time, the ship was not an anonymous vessel, but one commanded by Henry, John's father. The sight of the ship approaching filled John and Emily with a mixture of hope and dread. They had grown accustomed to their life on the island, yet the possibility of returning to civilization was a tantalizing prospect. As the ship drew closer, John and Emily watched with bated breath, their hearts pounding with anticipation. The ship anchored near the shore, and Henry, along with a small crew, descended to the beach. He had been searching for his son ever since the shipwreck, driven by a relentless hope that John might still be alive. The reunion should have been a moment of joy, but as Henry and his crew approached, they saw two figures on the beach, covered in mud and seaweed, looking more like native islanders than the children they had once known. Henry's heart sank as he failed to recognize his own son and niece. believing them to be part of the island's mysterious inhabitants. John and Emily, aware of their appearance, made no move to reveal their true identities. A strange sense of loyalty to the island and a desire to remain undisturbed compelled them to stay silent. They watched from the cover of the trees as Henry and his crew searched the beach and surrounding area. The sound of their voices, so familiar yet now alien, stirred deep emotions in both John and Emily. Henry called out for his son, his voice echoing across the beach, but there was no response. The decision to stay hidden was fraught with emotion. John felt a pang of guilt and sorrow, knowing how much his father must have suffered during his search. Emily too felt the weight of their choice, but she believed that their life on the island had become their true home. The island had shaped them in ways that the outside world could never understand. As they watched Henry's ship depart, a sense of finality settled over them. The ship sailed away, and with it went their last tangible connection to their past lives. Henry, heartbroken and defeated, returned to his ship, believing that his search had ended in failure. The sight of the two figures on the beach haunted him, but he had no reason to suspect that they were his long-lost family. The crew, sensing his despair, offered words of comfort, but nothing could ease the pain of losing his son once more. As the ship disappeared over the horizon, John and Emily emerged from their hiding place, their emotions raw and conflicting. The encounter with Henry's ship forced John and Emily to confront their feelings about their life on the island. John, in particular, felt a deep sense of loss and yearning for the world he had left behind. Yet he also recognized that the island had become an integral part of who they were. The decision to remain hidden was a testament to their acceptance of their new reality. The island, with its beauty and challenges, had become their sanctuary, and they were not ready to abandon it. Life on the island continued, marked by the rhythms of nature and the routines they had established. One day, in a moment of whimsy and nostalgia, John and Emily decided to use the old lifeboat to revisit the first part of the island they had explored after the shipwreck. They wanted to relive the memories of their early days of survival, to reconnect with the place where their journey had begun. They gathered some provisions and set out, their spirits buoyed by a sense of adventure. The journey took them along familiar shores, past the beaches and coves they had come to know so well. John decided to go ashore to gather some bananas, leaving Emily and their young son Sam in the boat. Emily, lulled by the gentle rocking of the boat and the warmth of the sun, drifted into a light sleep. Unbeknownst to her, Sam, curious and ever exploring, found a branch laden with bright red berries, the very same berries Sam had warned them about. As the boat drifted, Sam began to play with the berries, unaware of their danger. The boat, caught in a subtle current, started to move away from the shore. When Emily awoke, she realized with a start that they were no longer near the beach. Panic set in as she tried to steer the boat back, but one of the oars was missing, having been dropped by Sam in his play. Emily called out for John, her voice tinged with fear, but he was too far to hear. John, returning with a bundle of bananas, saw the boat drifting away and immediately dived into the water to reach them. As he swam, a fin broke the surface, a shark drawn by the commotion. Emily's heart raced as she watched the shark closing in on John. Desperate, she grabbed the remaining oar and hurled it at the shark, striking it and buying John precious moments to reach the boat. John climbed aboard, breathless and shaken, but safe. However, the relief was short-lived. The boat, now adrift with only one oar and caught in a powerful current, began to move further out to sea. They were helpless, at the mercy of the ocean's currents. Days passed, the sun relentless during the day, and the nights cold and unforgiving. Their provisions dwindled, and they were left with little more than hope to sustain them. The vastness of the ocean was both beautiful and terrifying, a reminder of their insignificance and vulnerability. As the days blurred into one another, John and Emily found themselves increasingly desperate. One morning they awoke to find Sam chewing on the red berries. In their weakened state, and with no other options, they too consumed the berries. resigned to their fate. The berries brought a strange sense of calm and drowsiness, and they lay back in the boat, expecting the end to come quietly. Their minds drifted, thoughts of the island and their life there mingling with the hazy reality of their situation. The morning after consuming the berries, the horizon held a surprise. Henry's ship, returning once more. The crew spotted the small lifeboat and quickly moved to rescue its occupants. Henry, his heart heavy with the grief of his failed search, was astonished to find John, Emily and Sam alive but unconscious. The sight of his son, now a grown man, and Emily, whom he had known as a child, filled him with a profound mix of joy and sorrow. The crew carefully lifted the lifeless forms from the boat, their initial fear that they had arrived too late, giving way to cautious hope. The ship's doctor examined them, noting the effects of the poisonous berries. He administered treatment, though there was little to be done but wait and hope for their recovery. Henry watched over them, his heart breaking at the sight of their frail bodies, but also burning with a newfound determination to bring them back to health. Hours passed, and slowly signs of life returned. John stirred first, his eyes fluttering open to the sight of his father's face, lined with worry and relief. Emily and Sam awoke soon after, groggy and weak, but alive. The reunion was quiet and emotional, words failing to capture the depth of their feelings. Henry held them, tears streaming down his face, as the crew looked on, sharing in the moment of unexpected joy. As they regained their strength, John and Emily recounted their life on the island to Henry. He listened with a mixture of amazement and sorrow, understanding now the depth of their experiences and the reasons behind their decision to remain hidden during his previous visit. The island had not just been a place of survival, it had become their home, shaping their identities and their bond. Henry respected their journey, though he still struggled with the years lost and the pain they had endured. The ship set sail for home, but John and Emily carried the island with them in their hearts. The sea, which had once seemed an endless expanse of danger, now felt like a bridge between their past and future. The journey back to civilization was a time of reflection and healing. They spoke of their plans, their hopes for the future, and the ways in which their experiences on the island would forever influence their lives. On the ship, they slowly adjusted to the presence of others and the luxuries of life that had once been foreign to them. The crew, fascinated by their story, treated them with kindness and curiosity. John and Emily found themselves both excited and apprehensive about the world they were returning to. They had been shaped by the island, and they wondered how they would fit back into a society that had continued to move forward without them. As they approached the shores of civilization, John and Emily stood at the bow of the ship, hand in hand. The sight of the bustling port, with its noise and activity, was overwhelming, yet filled them with a sense of possibility. They were not the same children who had been shipwrecked so many years ago. They were stronger, wiser, and deeply connected by their shared experiences. The island had given them a unique perspective on life and survival, a bond that would guide them as they faced the future together. Their return was marked by both celebration and adjustment. They reconnected with family and friends, sharing stories of their extraordinary life. While they faced challenges in adapting to the pace and expectations of society, they drew strength from their bond and the resilience they had developed. The island, though far behind them, remained a touchstone in their memories, a place that had forged their character and shaped their destinies. John, Emily, and Sam found a new rhythm in their lives, blending the lessons of the island with the opportunities of civilization. They built a future grounded in the love and strength they had discovered in their years of isolation. The island had been a crucible, testing and refining them, and now they carried its legacy forward, forever changed by the experiences that had bound them together in ways that only they could fully understand. In the end, John and Emily's journey is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. From surviving a shipwreck to navigating the complexities of adolescence alone, they face every challenge with courage and strength. Their bond, tested by time and hardship, ultimately leads them to a profound understanding of themselves and each other. The island, with its dangers and beauties, becomes both their prison and sanctuary, shaping their identities in ways they could never have imagined. The final rescue, a bittersweet reunion with their past, offers a glimmer of hope and a new beginning. As they re-enter civilization, the lessons of the island stay with them, guiding their steps in a world that feels both familiar and foreign. Their story is not just about survival, but about finding meaning and connection in the most unlikely of places. It's a reminder that even in isolation, the human spirit can find ways to grow and thrive. John and Emily's journey challenges us to consider our own resilience and the relationships that define us. The island may be left behind, but its impact on their lives is indelible, shaping their future in profound ways. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Share this video with friends and let us know in the comments what you thought of John and Emily's incredible journey.